Oh, he's on Zoom. Look at him. He's on Zoom. He's not wearing a Yankees hat because the Yankees got swept in the ALCS. We won't bring that up. And the Giants are about to steal their home run hitter. Wow, how about them apples? Jason, good morning.
I mean, other than that.
Other than that, Jason. Uh-oh, unmute yourself. We got him up. We can't hear him.
Yep.
Oh, there he is. There we go.
Yeah. I love that for Aaron Judge, honestly. And anybody who has watched this team knew that Houston was always going to be the team to do that to them. Houston is so good. Hats off to them. They deserve to be playing in the World Series. They were just a better team.
Well, what do you make of this Niner loss over the weekend? I mean, look, no one is saying that you got to go out and beat the Kansas City Chiefs. It's just they felt light years away from them, to take a Warrior term. It was a very uninspiring performance. Clearly, the defense couldn't get a damn stop. And then offensively, it feels like they can never stay in a game with just their offense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's the most frustrating part, is that this game was always going to be a litmus test for what you thought this team would be down the line, which is a Super Bowl contender, right? So this game wasn't necessarily a must-win. I labeled it as a much better if you did win, a much cooler if you did win game as opposed to must-win. The must-win game is now Sunday. But, yeah, I mean, it's the same issues over and over. Here we are talking about offense, talking about execution, talking about penalties, talking about, just undisciplined play at certain times. It's 7 weeks in. I do believe that this team is talented enough to turn it around. But why do we always have to be here 3-4, 3-5 before the light bulb goes off? It would be a lot cooler if they would hit the ground running a la 2019.
Yeah, you telling me, Jason. I mean, telling all of us here. And it always goes back to the quarterback. Now the defense, they gave up 44 points. That was not good. All right, they gave up 44 points. They gave up 4 touchdowns in the second half in a matter of 12 minutes. That's what it commute. While the Niners go 80 yards and take about 8 minutes to go 80 yards and not score any points. But it always goes back to the quarterback. And in a gunfight like that against Patrick Mahomes, I just have no faith in the quarterback being able to keep up. And I thought the Atlanta game was a very good indicator for the 49ers. Can the offense pick up the defense with them being shorthanded? And the answer is no, Jason. So in the long term, or in the grand scheme of things this season, I don't have any faith in the quarterback in this offense helping the defense win big games.
Right, and this is the NFL. No matter how good your defense is, there's going to be games where you're out game plan. You got to take your hat off to Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo. I hate to say it, but they outcoached the hell out of D'Amico Ryans and Kyle Shanahan. And sorry, but at the same time, the offense is going to have to pick up that slack here and there. And I think the biggest concern with this offense is you want these 8-minute drives, you want 8, 9, 10 plays, but you have to be almost perfect on these plays. And what I mean by that is you take a sack and you're back on 2nd and 25. You're off schedule now. Like, everything has to be precise. That's why in the Atlanta game, you saw back-to-back drives where the 49ers were able to go right down the field and score. Right. And then when they're not executing, miss a block penalty, they're all of a sudden 3rd and 15, 3rd and 20. That's when the trouble comes in. So, Patrick Mahomes is able to make these shot plays. He doesn't necessarily have to be perfect, even if it's down on 3rd down. That's why he's so special. That's why he is who he is. That's why there's only one Patrick Mahomes. But, yeah, the offense has to somewhat be perfect on these drives to put points on the board and not just field goals. Obviously, that's not how you beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
So Kittle and Ayuk come out, and they're kind of criticizing, not being able to put up enough points, not getting the ball in playmakers' hands. Then yesterday, Jimmy Ward, hey, I'm not really a slot corner. I'm more of a free safety. I'd like to go back to my normal position. What do you make of that? Is he losing the locker room, Kyle Shanahan?
No, I just think the frustration is building, and that makes a lot of sense. I mean, when you look around with the weapons and you look around with how talented the offense should be, I think the frustration is starting to build. I mean, you score as many points as you do, but many of them come on the back of field goals. It's just straight up frustration that I feel. I don't think he's losing the locker room in any way. I do think that last year does give you that glimmer of hope. And, stop me if you guys have heard this before. Embarrassing loss at Levi's, playing the Rams, need a shot in the arm. Sounds like what happened last year with Deebo Samuel becoming wide back, and now enter Christian McCaffrey, and you hope that he's that shot in the arm for the offense, even though Deebo is nursing a hamstring injury going into this one.
Jason Aponte, Sprit Right Pod, Niners Nation does a great job covering the 49ers. Great content on Twitter, at Jason Aponte 2103. He's here on the roast breaking down Niners as we get ready for the L.A. Rams. Also, George Kittle talking about position groups not playing hard, not playing 100%. Kyle Shanahan debunked that right away. So you bring up the Rams. Where are the Rams at? Because I know you watch the entire league. Offensive line looks like they're in shambles. But this is a big game for the Rams at SoFi Stadium. Where are the Rams at right now? Because who's going to guard Cooper Kupp for the secondary with Mooney Ward with the groin injury?
Yeah, well, it's off the bye. Sean McVay's record isn't exactly like Andy Reid off the bye, which is what made me so nervous getting into the Chiefs game. Like his numbers after a loss are absurd.
Yeah.
Like he literally doesn't lose back-to-back games. It doesn't happen. So they're not exactly juggernauts out of the bye. They are returning their center, Allen. They are getting Van Jefferson back, who might be just a little bit of what cures them, just a little bit. And it doesn't mean that he necessarily has to contribute.
Takes that top off the defense.
That's it. He just needs to be a threat at this point. I don't think that there's any magic answer to stopping Cooper Kupp. He's going to get his, and he moves around so much that Mooney won't be able to follow him. He'll be in the slot, all of those things. Like, you're going to be able to somewhat limit him. Like, the best way that I can put it is Cooper Kupp is probably going to end up in this game with 10, 11 receptions, but you have to keep that 10 of 11 receptions to 100 yards, 100 yards, meaning catch it and get and swarm and tackle him. Don't allow anything after the catch. And then when you look at the way this Rams offense has been, Matthew Stafford doesn't quite look like himself. They don't have any semblance of a running game right now at this point. I mean, Cam Akers wants out. Darrell Henderson's a little bit banged up. They activated Kyron Williams, who probably will see his first action. So they're in a similar spot where they're trying to figure it out, hoping that a bye week is their cure. But the 49ers should be enough on defense to keep this team in it and be able to score points. It's always just going to boil down to the offense. Last week with the defense, you put that as a one-off.
Right.
And it's just a game where, unfortunately, you didn't play well. You weren't disciplined. The game plan wasn't exactly sound, and Patrick Mahomes is really good. Chalk that up as a loss. That's fine. But this game, you know this opponent very well. You know what the formula is. It's all going to boil down to how many points can the offense score.
All right, so let's get optimistic. People get mad at me and be like, "Oh,
we're not positive enough, Jason. We're
not
negative."
Positive. So I loved what I saw in the very little bit from Christian McCaffrey. I know you don't trade for running backs. This dude's special. He's next level. He already brings a juice and a dynamic to the run game that they haven't had since Mostert. We're really optimistic there. What are you most optimistic about when it comes to the 49ers?
Right now, I do think that that's the reason to be optimistic, right? Like I said, last year, Deebo Samuel becomes a wide back, your explosive plays come. The explosive plays are not going to come vertically. They're going to come horizontally. So what you do is you're going to be able to throw the ball to Christian McCaffrey in the slot, get him into space, and get him to move around. And I think you hit the nail on the head, Shasky. He is the most explosive running back the 49ers have had since Raheem Mostert. And he just showed that juice. And anybody who watched that game in his limited touches, you have to be excited for what he brings to this offense. And you have to understand that with a week, I was surprised at how well he grasped the playbook. The kid's very smart. He obviously went to Stanford. So now the game plan now, especially if Deebo Samuel's not going to be playing, has to be Christian McCaffrey, who is returning to SoFi after he just put up 158 total yards, with P.J. Walker starting, by the way, and being the focal point of the Rams' defense. So he still has that juice. I understand the hesitance with all the picks that you gave up, but this offense needs a shot in the arm, and hopefully Christian McCaffrey is that.
How big is the loss of Kyle Juszczyk this week?
It is big. Again, we talk about positionless football. We talk about what he does very well, which is create angles in the run game and get in front for blocking. And you know, if you need to throw him the ball, he's almost a guarantee to have at least one or two long catches. He presents so many matchup problems. It is a bigger loss than I think people are willing to admit. But at the same time, when I hate to downplay it, but when you're taking Kyle Juszczyk away and adding Christian McCaffrey, there seems to be a little bit more that Christian McCaffrey can probably give you. So, I mean, it's not ideal, but it's not, the end of the world.
If they fall to 3-5 after this weekend, what? If they fall to 3-5, is the sky falling? Like, are they able to dig themselves out of this the way they did last year? Because to think that they can, I know, 7 spots, NFC is down, but like, man, that would be a gut punch losing again this weekend, heading into the bye, and everybody's hurt.
Yeah, this feels more like a must-win just because you can stay undefeated in the division.
Yeah.
Do it 2-0 against the Rams, and that's going to be your tiebreaker going forward. This bye week feels like it's the perfect time because now reinforcements are going to be here, getting healthier. You hope that there's a week of preparing the offense. And I think when you look around at the schedule, I think we talked about this the last time I was on. When you count the schedule and you're looking, you're like, well, this is a win, this is a loss, this is a win. I don't really see too many tough games in terms of like, wow, the 49ers are in trouble facing the Arizona Cardinals or
the Chargers at home.
Yeah, like even the Chargers, right? Like you would think the Chargers are lighting the world on fire. They haven't exactly played well.
No.
They're injured as well. So it's funny how the league kind of shifts with a few injuries and such. It wouldn't be that the sky is falling because if you take solace in the fact that this team was 3-5 last year and turned it around and went on a run, okay, I hear you, but why do we have to keep like pointing back to last year? And
right.
Well, they did it last year. That's usually not how you get it done. So, yeah, you do have the precedent of what they did last year. That could probably make you all warm and fuzzy, but I was dead on when he said last time that I was on here, 4-4.
4-4.
It's an absolute win.
4-4 is a win, I think, for this team. Before we let you go, Jason Aponte, Sprint Right Pod,
Do you
Niners
believe
Nation.
in miracles?
Do you believe in miracles? Well,
4-4?
the miracle here is Jimmy Garoppolo. What? I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo, Jason, you have at it. I mean, we could talk all day about Jimmy Garoppolo. Or can he get better this year? Can he just improve a little bit? Can he throw the ball away? Can he not take sacks? Can he improve his pocket presence? 'Cause that's what it's going to, like, fans hate us for ripping on Jimmy or, like, talking about him. But, like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do, Jason. You need good quarterback play. Right now, they're not getting good quarterback play.
But unfortunately, Jimmy is who he is. So I've stopped getting upset now at this point. When he throws up an interception and when he throws up an interception in the red zone, I'm like, well, there's Jimmy. Right? Like, it doesn't really. And there's going to be games where Jimmy plays very well, and there's this meme on Twitter of like the circle, right? Jimmy plays bad, guys call for his job, he whips on another team, and then you start the cycle all over again. Look, there's a reason that Kyle Shanahan moved heaven and earth to get Trey Lance. He realized that this wasn't enough. This was never the plan going into it. It was a nice little safety net to have him here. You can see some sort of offensive competency with him. But at this point, I don't get mad about Jimmy Garoppolo anymore. He is who he is. And, as far as improving, you're 8 years in. I don't know what exactly you can improve on in this offense at this point.
See, Jason, I get mad at Shanahan. I get mad at Shanahan because Jimmy's still here. And it's like, we've been talking about this thing since Super Bowl 54. Super Bowl 54.
That's fair. But again, if this was Nate Sudfeld, if this was Brock Purdy, then we have nothing to talk about.
Yeah, no, I know.
Like, with the 49ers. So we could at least say that there was some semblance of an offense, right? You could win a game or two here and there. I still think that there's a way for this offense to click. Has to start this week. But trust me, if it was Brock Purdy or if it was Nate Sudfeld, I don't know if you'd be talking 49ers on the morning roast.
No, we'd be all Warriors.
We would. We talked about Bitcoin Mullins.
Right.
There's so many things.
No, Money Mullins and Bitcoin Bethard.
Don't even start me. The Brock Purdy thing, on the way out the door, the Brock Purdy thing, it's for those like seven people in the world that were Brock Purdy truthers, it's done,
more than
right?
7.
We're going to see him again, though, right? Like, we're going to get another Brock Purdy series or two.
I hope not. That means the game's either out of hand or Jimmy Garoppolo's injured. I mean, no knock on him, right? I mean, no knock on him. And I'm not a football player or anything like that, but we saw him in training camp. And sure,
he's so small.
He made some nice throws, but he's like a more mobile Jimmy. Like, he throws like a pillow ball that, like, it kind of just you're waiting for it to get there.
I never heard that.
Yeah, I don't know.
We got medicine balls and pillow balls. Oh, my God.
It's like a balloon ball.
We're the night-night team.
It floats, like, and you're waiting for it to get there.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing against him or anything like that. But if Brock Purdy has to play, that game's either gotten out of hand or Jimmy Garoppolo is completely injured.
Yeah, Jason, good stuff, man. Let's hope the Niners can win against the LA Rams. Operation 4-4. Operation 4-4, and then we all get a breather for a couple weeks.
Operation 500. That'll get it done.
That's where we're at right now.
And for you guys and for anybody listening, next week when the 49ers are on bye, go read a book, go do things, go spend time with your family. Don't let this team stress you out. I will say this, if you are a 49er fan, here is the good news. Back-to-back Sundays, you don't have to worry about the 49ers breaking your heart because they have the bye week this week, and then they're off on Sunday because they play on Monday. So, silver linings, and I'm always a glass half full type of guy.
Nice. I love it. Jason Aponte, everybody.